Hi, good evening. Welcome to tonight's Table Talk with Parents. My name is Alicia Newell, and I have the privilege of serving as one of the assistant vice presidents for student affairs here at Wichita State University. In my role, I have the privilege of serving as the chair of the university care team. In addition, working with departments within our division, really to help focus on students' belonging and connection within the university. And so part of that role is really getting to create connections with our families and finding ways to partner with you in order to help our students succeed at the university level. And so we created this series to bring questions and insight to you in your home as you prepare to get your students ready for this next journey. And so today's topic is all about your students' first year, what to expect in first year advising. And so this week, we actually kick off this week with new student orientation. So many of you may be getting ready. Come to campus tomorrow and walk with your students the halls for the first time and being on campus at Wichita State. And so it's an exciting time. And so throughout today's session, feel free to comment, ask questions, and let us know how we can help you. I've been with the university for 19 years. I am a proud alum of the university. I'm also a first generation college student. And so being able to connect with our families in this way is extremely important because not with Wichita State, 50% of our students are first generation. And so being able to connect and help our parents through that process, even if you graduated from college, it may have been some time, right? Some time ago. And so being able to help give you information you need so that you can best support your students in this journey. And so with me today for our topic of your Shockers first year is, and Aaron serves as the director of our one-stop student services and first year advising. And so I'm going to turn it over to Aaron, who also is a proud alum of Shocker Nation, to talk about what you can expect, what you and your students can expect, what they should have done up until this point in regards to their first year role in registering for classes, confirming all those classes, and we'll go from there. So, Ham, take it away.
All right. Thank you, Alicia. Yes, I am Aaron Hamilton. I'm the director of One Stop Student Services, and all of the incoming freshmen come through my office. And what we do on our side is we build their schedule for them. We work with them throughout the entire first year on financial aid, student accounts, kind of the business side of becoming a student. So what I'm going to cover with you tonight is just a little bit about the enrollment process. But before I do, I wanted to take a quick poll, and you can just answer in the chat, yes or no. Is your student already enrolled in classes at Wichita State? So I'm going to watch watch for responses, because whatever you respond, I'm going to try to tailor my presentation around that. So, yep. Got a couple of yeses already. Yes. No, we got one that can't get into their email, so I can help you with that too. So a lot of yeses and one that can't get in their email, which we can definitely address. And I just want to let you all know too that I actually went through this process last year. So my daughter is entering her second year of college out here at Wichita State. So I was on the other end of this last year, and we'll try to provide some perspective on that as well. I was just talking to Alicia right before we started, and my daughter is moving out. She's going to move into her sorority house, and actually after we have our event tonight, I am going to go home and I have to make some modifications to a bed that I don't know how to do, but I'm going to figure it out because she's my daughter and I love her. But it's an interesting time. I remember at this time last year is when college started to get very real with her friends. Some of them were going to be moving away, and just going through all of the conversations that go with that as well. You know, knowing that her best friend was going to another school, and that, you know, she was debating whether to live on campus or off campus, and she was trying to find that balance on the front end. So it's an interesting time, and I would urge you all to please be patient with your kids, because I'm sure a lot of them are still not 100% sure what they're getting into that are going to college. So one of the things I wanted to let you all know about that we provide here in my office, the reason we're called One Stop Student Services is we want to have everyone. Can they all see my screen? Yeah, there we are. Okay. So we want to have students have one place to go. So right now there are about 19 different services housed that are moving over to one building. And there's all kinds of different tutoring and supplemental instructions. There's different things that we offer, and there's different places to go. So my office, our goal is to bring that into one place, so that your student for their first year has one person to go to. We can help them with their financial aid, with their advising, with their student account, which is how they pay their bills, and registration. So we work with all of those departments. We work with parking. We want them to be able to know that they have a place they can go. So we have our physical location, which is Jardine Hall, room 112. And we also offer access 24/7. And when we do that, they can go to, you can kind of see the offices that we work with here. But if they call in or do a chat, there's a live person on the other end. And it's part of my staff, and they are trained to log into the student's account and walk through with them what they're looking at. So if a student calls, for example, they're like, why am I being awarded $3,000 in financial aid? We can walk through and say, okay, this is this kind of loan. You got a grant and you got a scholarship. And we'll walk through what each one is and what it means and the repercussions of each one. So if it's a loan, for example, we talk about, loans you do have to pay back. If it's a grant or scholarship, you don't have to pay those back. Those are, for lack of a better word, those are free money. But we can do that 24/7. And the reason we do that is students don't all operate 8 to 5. So we have, like, fine arts students in particular come to mind. You're not inspired in the arts from certain time periods. It could come at any time. And we have students that take classes until 10 o'clock. And so at night. So if they're taking a class until 10 and they have a question about financial aid that they couldn't get to all day because they had class or work, or maybe they're involved in an organization on campus and they were doing that, they can still call in or chat. A lot of students prefer chat. They don't love calling. And the web ticket option, the student can go in and basically open a page, type in what their question is, and we will take it from there in terms of following up with them and getting back to them. I'm also going to open, and Dristy, let me know if you can see this screen. There is, I'm going to share a different screen with you real quick. This is the page. This is the page when you go to wichita.edu/one-stop. Students can go here 20. This is the one that's there all the time. And so it's got the phone number you can call for one stop. The Blackboard support, you're going to hear the word Blackboard quite a bit. And what that is where we house quizzes, tests, assignments, readings. That's where we house them online. The product is called Blackboard. So there's a support office for that as well. And then the chat is located there too. I like this tab, the important semester dates. You can go here anytime. Like, you don't have to log into this. This is just here for you, really. And when you click on important semester dates, it should bring up important semester dates, which aren't changing on your end, but that's okay. As you look at this, if a student has questions about anything, you just type it in, like financial aid, and it will bring up, they're called KBs, knowledge-based articles, that are, what are the deadlines for financial aid? How do I view my offer, etc. So that all is there, and I will bring it back, the PowerPoint. Dristy's running the show in the background, so she's helping us out today. So it should be back. So we can do those all the time. And again, there's our on-campus location. So as we look at the year in totality, the whole first year, your student's going to be with us, and we've already got the RSVP and orientation and enrollment questionnaire. That's open. Students can fill that out now. We do need official transcripts. So up to this point, students that get enrolled, they can send us screenshots of any classes they may have taken, whether it was advanced placement or concurrent or dual enrollment through a community college in the area, their ACT test scores, etc. But now at this point, we need official transcripts sent in so that we can get that on their student file, because that's going to need to be there for good. Once we have those things, my staff take all that information, the questionnaire, the transcripts, and build a schedule. And the schedule doesn't always look like what the student thinks they want to take. So we have to take into consideration the student's major, what classes they may or may not be bringing in with them. For example, students that come in with under 30 credit hours, which is most of our students don't have 30 coming out of high school. That's a lot of hours to have. But students that come in with less than 30, they have to take a first-year seminar. And we try to get as many of those in the fall. If they can, take it in the spring. But the first-year seminar is a topic-based course taught by a faculty member, a full faculty member, that there's a topic, but there's also instructions along the way. It's structured in such a way that students learn how to use the library, how to use various resources, the math lab, the writing lab, the various resources on campus. So students will come in and be like, why do I have to take this class? And it's really, our goal is, I don't want your students just to start at Wichita State. I want them to graduate from Wichita State. And to do that, we have to set up the infrastructure and help them learn the processes and the resources available to them along the way. So that's one of the things we do. And then we email them the schedule. And I know, Chantel, I'll get with you if you can stay after this. We'll get your son into his email, and then either approve or deny it. So those of you that are already registered, sounds like you already approved it. The student is locked into that schedule until they attend orientation. So we have, I a couple of hundred students coming tomorrow to attend orientation. Once they've done that, oh, good. Chantel says he has it. Okay. Once they've attended orientation, they can actually adjust their schedule. So we'll teach them how to add and drop classes. The initial one that we built, again, is based on a lot of factors, but it's also to make sure they get locked in to those classes and your students actually get to start enrolling before our current students. So they get cream of the crop times, etc., as we're building those schedules. But yes, orientation, we will teach them how to change their classes, and we talk to them. So one thing I want to tell all of you as you go through, and my daughter went through this as well. If you drop a class, so for my daughter, it was ceramics because it ended up being about 18 hours a week outside of class that she was working on. And it was just too much with having a job and being in a sorority and student ambassadors on campus, plus classes. So she had to drop it. But when you drop a class, that can affect your financial aid or your scholarships. So you can change your schedule, but I strongly encourage you to talk to my staff first, just so we can make sure the student is educated on this is how it will affect it. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's like, yeah, you just won't get that money, and we do some paperwork on the back and it's not a big deal. That's usually how it is. But there are ramifications when you drop a class financially, and if you drop the wrong one, it could change a lot of things in the background. So just kind of a tip, I guess, there for dropping classes. But at orientation, they will learn that. They will learn how to navigate. We call it My WSU. It's a student portal. So they will learn how to navigate that. They'll learn how to look at My Finances, so their financial tab, etc. We'll show them how to sign up proxies. So I don't know how many of you, if you're proxies yet or not. And what I mean by that is once students get enrolled in college, their record is protected by the Federal Education Rights and Privacy Act. It's called FERPA. And it's jarring. So like for me, my daughter and my son, he's a junior now, he'll be a senior now. That's kind of shocking. Okay. Got to get it together. Them getting older is throwing me off. But with them, I've seen every grade they've had since kindergarten, every paper, every test, every quiz, and that comes to a hard stop in college because of FERPA. But if they give you proxy access, that means you can at least, they actually get to choose. The student gets to choose what you can see. So they can allow you to see financial aid, their finances, which is a big one. That's usually one that, like for me, I told Lauren, I was like, legally, you can let me see whatever you choose, but I'm helping you pay for this. So I would really like to be able to see that. And grades. So they can choose those three things or not choose them. So I just want to give you a heads up on that because it's really weird. It's a weird transition as far as being a parent going just screeching halt on that. That has nothing to do with my presentation. I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. So I'll skip over these because your students are already enrolled, so you're good there. We did that. We're starting orientation. So in August, we will do what's called walk-in advising or drop-in advising, where students just walk into our office and we schedule them to meet with our advisors. And if they want to make last-minute changes, a lot happens the first 2 weeks of class. A lot of students come in, they're like, nope, not going to take that class. Or I want to switch the time on this class to another time. And that's what we're here for. And students come in and we help them through that. They don't have to do it alone. What I would encourage you that first week of class, and Kim Sandlin, she's our director of student success, and she oversees orientation and first year programs, etc., would echo this is the biggest thing I see with students coming in is they don't ask. They don't have the confidence yet to know that it's okay to ask any question. There's no dumb questions, but it's, super important those first 2 weeks that they come in and can be realistic with themselves. So I had a student, for example, come in and wanted to take calculus 1. We suggested he not take it. He signed up anyway, and he came in the second week of school. Was like, I am not prepared for this class. And thank goodness he came in, because we got him dropped, got all his money back. There was no effect on anything. It didn't affect his transcript, nothing. Everything was fine. But a lot of students are taught, and myself was one of them back when I was in school, is you just power through, you figure it out, you keep going, which is okay, except there's a lot of money involved, and there's also your permanent grades involved. And students, they're like, I'll figure it out, or I'll wait till November and do it. And that just doesn't work in college. Procrastinating doesn't work in college. So if you get a hint that they have any questions or any doubts, any hesitations, tell them to come to us. They can come to us in person. They can do it online, whatever they're comfortable with. But we have the resources to help them do it right, so that they don't hurt their GPA, they don't hurt their finances. Everything's cool. It's just, you dropped a class, no big deal. Or we change time. We do it all the time. That's literally our job. So that first week of class is really important, though. Another thing to get on your calendar is mid-September, we'll invite all of the first-year students to their second semester advising appointment, their spring advising appointment. All of those are in person. So right now, everything they've done up to this point has probably been virtual or just by email. We'll meet them in person at orientation, so we can start to establish a face-to-face relationship. This advising appointment in the spring is all in person. And when we do that, the earlier they can sign up, the better. And they'll probably get the email, they'll probably get the text, and they'll be like, why would I sign up for this 4 months ahead of time? And the reason is classes that are at 9:30 and 11 and in certain buildings, certain times, certain faculty, if they want their pick of the best classes at the best times with the faculty they want, they have to get in early. And it's mandatory. So we'll have, close to 1,800 students this year coming into my office, all of which are having 45-minute appointments. So you take 1,800 times 45 minutes, it takes us till December to get through this. And we do, but we really want to get students in early, because we don't just talk about schedules. Advising isn't just schedule building. Schedule building's the easy part. Advising is also, they come to us and we talk about financial aid. They come to us and we talk about, are you homesick? A lot of our students come from out of town. So how are you feeling about that? How are you feeling about, do you have a part-time job? Are you meeting people? Are you connecting with people? We have conversations way beyond the classroom. And the reason we do that is students don't necessarily bring it up. So we have certain questions we ask to try to get that out of them. So we help them out, the advisors. If it's academic related, a lot of times we'll refer them to success coaches. And the coaches will help them with time management. They'll help them get signed up for supplemental instruction or tutoring. Which tutoring and supplemental instruction, if your kids ever mention that to you, the students I talk to, when I ask them, I was like, how do I explain this to people? They say it's basically like your older sibling or a friend took a class already and is telling you what you need to know in that class. So it's super helpful, and it's peer-to-peer, so that student to student. But my point with all this is we're connected to everyone on campus. And if we can't do it, we know the people that can. And again, we just want your students to be successful. We want them to come in, learn what they can. I'm not going to say that every bullet I put up here, they're going to remember every single thing. That's just not realistic. They're young. Yes, they're smart and they're learning, but we know that we have to repeat messages. We know that we have to share information with you, like Alicia, who opened this program, does a parent newsletter. We need to keep that. We're a team, here on campus, and we want to partner with you too to make sure okay, at this point in time, this is where we're at. Midterms are coming, finals are coming. Probably going to hear some stress, maybe not hear from your student as often, etc. So October and this spring semester advising appointment is one of the first lessons they will learn about time management. And what I mean by that is if they can't get in for 2 weeks, it's not because we don't want to get them in. It's just because physically we don't have time to schedule them to meet with their advisor. And so a lot of times they get frustrated, and I don't blame them. And I wish I had double the staff that I do, but I don't. So for a lot of them, that's the first lesson they learn in hearing no, because they just have to wait a couple of weeks. So those are always fun conversations. And then the middle of the end of January. So this is where your students are going to transition over to the academic colleges for advising. And what I mean by that is there's 7 academic colleges that make up Wichita State University. So you may be in engineering or liberal arts or fine arts or applied studies. We work with those colleges to make sure the classes we put students in are what are leading them to that degree field. But we're also balancing the fact that we know 70% of all college students nationwide change their major at least 3 times. So the classes we put them in, we want to make sure not only goes towards the degree path they're on now, but if they steer, it also goes towards that, because I don't want them wasting time and I don't want them wasting money. We want them to get where they want to go. And we do have students. We had 2 engineering students in the last 2 days who came in and both wanted to take a history class. And we were like, we can definitely do that. I just want you to know it's not going to count towards your degree. And they were both like, I go into college to learn. It'll be an extra class. I know it's going to cost extra money, but I want to take this class. I want to learn this. So students are free to do that. We're absolutely not going to turn them away from their passion, but we do explain the ramifications of signing up for certain classes and when. But anyway, with this transition to the college advisors, that is a process it's a communication process where we're communicating with the students, the new college is communicating with them, and we're trying to meet in the middle. But that usually takes place the middle to the end of January. So I saw a question from Michael Ryan about Parents Weekend. I'm going to defer to Alicia once I'm done because she might have that date set already, but I have not seen it. Pretty soon we'll change that important semester dates to the fall dates. So hopefully it'll be on there. So just so everybody knows, here's the advisors here in my office. So Kelsey, she works with applied studies, which is teacher ed, sport management, exercise science, and kinesiology. And then Casey and Monica, they both do engineering. So we have too many engineers coming in for one person to handle, so we have to split them up. And the same with liberal arts and sciences, which is next. So liberal arts includes psychology, communication, political science, English, all the sciences in terms of chemistry, biology, physics, and also undecided. So I'm going to come back to undecided students in a minute. And Michael, I will not forget your question. Brittany works with fine arts students. So anyone getting into the fine arts, we have a lot of students that take classes it's called Shocker Studios. It's 10, 15 minutes south of campus, and it's all game design, audio production, animation. It's a cool space. If you walk into it, I just immediately feel creative, and I am not a creative person. It's really an incredible place. But Brittany works with all the fine arts students, and Michelle works with all the business students. So she gets them into business calc and stats and econ and the foundational classes they have to have before they get up into marketing and some others. And Hannah works with the health profession students. And I want to clarify, health professions is nursing, pre-physical therapy, dental hygiene, pre-physician assistant. Liberal arts and sciences houses pre-med. So if you have any students doing pre-med, that's actually where they will transition to. But we all work together, and we work with the colleges to make sure that that again, the classes your students are taking are the right classes and that it meets their needs. And also, what are we supplementing that with from outside the classroom? Are we getting them in the pre-med student association? Are we getting them in engineering, for example? There's so many different student organizations over there. Are we getting them involved on campus? Because part of the college experience is connecting with other people. I spoke to a group at Wichita Southeast High School the other day. There were about 200 high school juniors there. And I told them, you're all here for the same camp. You're here for a week. And I was like, this is a network. You're building a network. You don't know it yet, but these people are your people. And so I try to encourage that with our students as well, that, okay, you're in a class with people. You may meet, say hi to them, get to know them. You may meet someone that you didn't know you would meet. So my daughter, for example, she's through her English class. She goes and gets coffee once a week with a girl from Hawaii that I still don't know how they met. I have no clue, but I just know they're both in English and somehow they got connected. And but where I'm going with all this is they're building a network as they're going, and they don't know that, it could be a friendship network, could be a support network, but it also is a professional network, and it's growing and growing and growing as they go and as they meet people. So I just wanted to put this up here for contact information. So that's my phone number, my email, that goes straight to my line. And Kylie's my assistant director. She's also our lead advisor. So she's advised for several of the colleges, and she advises our undecided students. So for undecided students, of which I was when I was in college for a year and a half, we don't just do the classes, but we also work with a Shocker Career Accelerator to do inventories of what are your strengths, what are you looking at. We're also a strengths-based campus, meaning we do Strengths Quest with all of our students at orientation. So when they attend orientation, every one of them is going to have their strengths written out. So mine are connectedness, adaptability, strategic arranger, and developer. Kylie works with them to say, okay, you're just undecided, which is quite frankly pretty normal. And a lot of students join undecided throughout the first semester because they're like, I thought I wanted to do this, but now that I see what it is, I don't. But she works with them. We work with Shocker Career Accelerator. We work with success coaches. We have a team of people that are there to help them get there, but we also understand we can't be we have to be careful how pushy we are about it. So we can't be like, oh, you don't have a major, you got to figure it out, because that's not true. They need to figure out at some point, but they don't have to know right now. So Kylie is really good at helping students navigate through that and connecting them with resources. So Michael, I believe I saw the date flash for, did I see it? Yep, September 22nd and 23rd. wichita.edu/family weekend.
Yay. Yeah, and so for families, thank you, Hamilton, or Aaron, Mr. Hamilton, for sharing all of the knowledge about what to expect, like your students' first year within the academic advising area. And I think this is really one of the topics that is really crucial in your students' journey, because the advising office, they're putting your students in these classes. And as they put students into these classes, it's, are these the right classes for them? And so if your student is historically struggling with math and they're taking that with chemistry and another course and they feel really overwhelmed, that needs to be a conversation with the academic advisor. If they're enrolled in all morning classes or late evening classes and they're planning to work specific jobs and the time frame doesn't work with them, have them work with their advisors. And a lot of times, like Aaron said, a lot of students don't know that they can decline their schedule, and they can actually go back and say, hey, this isn't working for me. Our job is to make sure that we're working with our students so that they get the best experience academically and co-curricularly within that experience. And so creating those connections, meeting with the advisor, and really having that advocate on campus to help them navigate that first year here at Wichita State. Erin had showed a really great picture of One Stop. And so if you go to wichita.edu/One Stop, that is the holy grail of the university. People think, hey, I get asked questions all the time from faculty, staff, students, parents. And if I don't know the answer, I go to this website, I type in the question, and voila, magic appears. And if not, then a ticket's going to be elevated to that particular office, and we're going to get back with you with an answer. And so if you've not already been to this website, make sure you go and you bookmark it, because a lot of times you and your students can get those questions answered right at your own fingertips. Hamilton had a question. Go ahead, Ham.
Yeah, it wasn't really a question as much as, so on campus, everybody calls me Ham or Hammy or Hamilton. So if you email me or call me, you can call me that. I'm talking to the parents now, I guess. That's fine. That's what I answer to. Students call me that. So, yeah. And I've worked with Alicia, and you're about to meet Kim, for many, many years. So we have a very casual relationship. But it also pays off, because I know I can go to these two and know one of the three of us knows exactly what we need to do for students. So I don't know. I guess that's it. You're muted, Alicia.
Thanks. Erin had talked about parent access and all of that information. And so a really important thing to understand is that once your student is registered and enrolled for classes, majority of everybody on today's session has said, my student's registered. Yes. That means you no longer have access to their information. From this moment forward, you will not receive anything from the university. The students will be getting all of the information to their MyWSU account. And so there's, we already had talked about FERPA and proxy and all of that great stuff that Erin talked about, but we will get a little bit more in depth in that this summer with our registrar, who's going to talk about kind of the why behind it, and then how do you get your students to go in and actually complete the requirements, so that should you want access or need access, you'll be able to kind of walk them through how to make sure that they go through and get that signed on for you. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about, now that Miss Kim Sandlin is here, who serves as our Director of Student Success. She also is a proud alumni of Wichita State University. Within her portfolio, New Student Orientation is one of the many units. And so tomorrow, she's out with her crew gearing up for tomorrow and all of the new students and families that will be welcoming to campus. And so from orientation through their journey to graduation, that's what this is all about. And so when we say welcome to the Shocker family, you may see us right now, you may see us at orientation. That will not be the last time you see us. You will see Kim and I in the gymnasium at graduation. We are getting students lined up before they walk across the stage. This is a commitment in making sure that we're doing your students the best that we can by walking this journey with them. And so tomorrow at orientation, there's a session. And so I'm going to let Kim talk about kind of what that looks like for those of you who may have missed a previous one of, coming to orientation, attending some of those sessions. And throughout the summer, we'll have additional sessions like this. And the purpose of these are in the moment, in time. When do you need the? And so a lot of times parents will say, well, what about my bill? And what about this? You don't need that now. because that has not been set. So when we have that session, those bills will be available in your account. We're going to walk through it. And so being able to bring the experts to you when that time is, so that we can walk, because there's a lot of information you're going to get tomorrow at orientation if you come. By the time you're done, you're going to be like, that's a lot. Now, fast forward, it's, June 8th tomorrow. Now come August, your students coming, they're going to forget half of this stuff. And so when you come, we have this lovely book. It's the Chakra Family Handbook that we'll be giving to all of our families. And so through the journey, Aaron also talked about going to wichita.edu/family. That's where you can sign up for the parent family newsletter. And that's how the university will communicate with you of what's happening around campus. What are some of the things that your students should be doing? What are deadlines? What are opportunities for you and your family to stay connected and engaged with the university? And so if that's something that you're interested in, please sign up, because that's what that particular newsletter is there for. So I'm going to turn it over to Kim, if she will share with us a little bit about kind of what that will look like for orientation. And then even if you want to share a little bit about the other areas, student success that you have for those who may not have previously joined us before.
Sure. Thank you all. I was just on another Zoom call earlier this evening with some students who logged on before orientation. We offer a chance for our students who have questions to meet a few of the transition mentors a little bit early. And so I apologize for being late to this group, but I had a great conversation talking through what orientation looks like. So with them. So for families who are on the program with us tonight, if you attend orientation, know that you'll be separate from your student. That's not uncommon at any university for an orientation program. You'll check in. We'll get you to the right place. We immediately connect those students with other students in their groups for orientation, and we send you all upstairs to the ballroom for a parent session. So right out of the get-go, we're going to check y'all in and we're going to separate y'all out. And then parents, you'll hear throughout the morning, you'll have some sessions that are specific to things like FERPA. I think Aaron talked about that a little bit earlier tonight. And they'll talk about my finances and being able to be an authorized user and a lot of the money parts, which are really important. And so we'll talk to you as much as we can. Alicia is right. Those bills don't hit or get sent or get posted until July. And that's not necessarily something we control. We don't really particularly like that, but that's just the way that the state operates in terms of when they, that process of approving the, tuition fees and everything for the upcoming year. So unfortunately, sometimes it's kind of a hurry up and wait situation when it comes to finances. So if you have those questions on your mind, we will get to it and we will answer those, but you sometimes have to wait until July, sometimes later July, to get that information. So we'll walk you through what that looks like. Then you can join your student at lunch. So there's no formal program at lunch. So or maybe your student's like, no thanks, I've met new friends and have a group, so please don't eat with me. Or we've also seen the opposite happen where parents have made connections. So maybe there's a few parents who are from Texas or out of state, whatever, and they've really made connections. And they're like, no, I have my friend group. You go eat with your student friends. We've seen that happen too. So however you all want to do lunch, completely open. It'll be crowded, but it'll be fun. So that lunchtime is kind of a non-programmed time to reconnect with your student. Then in the afternoon, they will go up to the ballroom. They have a number of sessions that they will listen to and engage in, and you will have your own set of presentations as well. You will hear from a lot of the same people. There are a couple of differences, but mostly you're hearing from the same the same presenters in the same departments, and getting that information from the parent perspective, and the students are getting it for the student perspective. So then one of the things that you'll have the opportunity to do at orientation, then at the end of that first day, Alicia and I will do a session that kind of wraps the day up. It talks about our Shocker Family programs. It will walk you through a couple of examples, of things like, what does a degree audit look like? What does your students, what does the portal look like when they're managing it? How do they check emails? And what's the difference from ID at wichita.edu, from first, middle, last at shockers.edu? And, what are all those differences? We'll walk you through those kinds of things. We walk you through how to stay connected and be connected. But the great part is we get to meet you face to face when you come to orientation. So you'll end your day with Alicia and I. And then day 2, the students come back. There's not a lot programmed for parents. By day 2, parents are like, we kind of had enough day 1. So if you want to come back with your student, you're welcome to do that. We just don't have a lot planned for parents on day 2. So your students check in. You don't have to check in on day 2. There's an information student services fair that you're welcome to go through with your student. We will have a campus tour on day 2. We also have optional tours. If you want to, take a tour of campus and skip out on some sessions, that's cool. We're super flexible with parents coming in and out of sessions as they want. We don't require you to sit through everything. If you want to step out and take a break, that's cool. If you want to step out and take a call from work, that's cool. If you need to step out and connect with other kids that you have at home, that's cool. Do it. We understand that, you have other things going on in your lives as well. So we're super flexible with parents, not so flexible with the students and their sessions, but with parents, you're good. So on that day 2, then we just have that student information fair, and then we have that tour that'll be at 1:00. That usually lasts, depending on how many people go and depending on the questions, it can last anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half. So that puts you at about 10:30, and your students will check out on day 2 about 12:30. So that gives you a little bit of time. If you want to go around campus, if you want to visit, certain areas of campus, or visit with a service department, if you want to drop off, your immunization records at student health, you can do that. And, like that kind of business that you need to do on campus. I would say that it's hard often for parents to conduct business and ask questions without their student in certain areas like financial aid. So sometimes it's helpful to wait until your student has checked out, and then the afternoon, that second day afternoon, One Stop is open if you need to pop over and ask a question about One Stop. Financial aid is open if you want to walk in. You can walk into financial aid and things like that. So it's really flexible for our parents and our guests on day 2. So hopefully that clears things up, or maybe not clears things up, but gives you a little better idea of what to expect during the orientation program. So the other things that I wanted to mention, we do have a number of transition programs for our new students. So one of the big ones is Clash of the Colleges. You will hear about it. Your students will definitely hear about it. They'll actually start earning points for their academic college at orientation. And it's a big, it's a fun competition between academic colleges. So engineers against business, against fine arts, against liberal arts, and all of that. So we engage them at orientation in some of these programs, but Clash is really our first one. And that is the first Friday of the fall semester. We also have a syllabus party that we have for students, usually the second Tuesday of the semester. And that is a time where students can bring all of the syllabus from all of their classes together and just get organized and put some thought behind, okay, I probably should have a study schedule. If I'm not already into an academic pattern of, or have an academic kind of schedule that I'm used to, this is a great place for them to come, to walk in, get some snacks. If they're a paper planner person, great. We'll have planner supplies for them. Then they bring their own planner, but we've got supplies. If they like to keep things organized in an Excel document, we can map out all of their projects and all of their assignments and help them organize that in one place, or show them how to do that and how to find that information maybe in their Blackboard, and help them just kind of get set and centered if they haven't yet found that groove. So we do that every semester, always on the second Tuesday of the semester, sometimes on the second Wednesday. Depends on what's going on. Let's see what else. We have academic convocation, which your students are enrolled or will be enrolling in a first year seminar class. And part of that class, part of the orientation fee includes a book that they will be using in that class. So they'll pick that up when they order their textbooks. The bookstore will put that in their bag that they can just check. They can just pick up, or they'll have it in the bookstore. You don't have to pay for it. So they'll pick up that common read book, and the author is going to be here for our academic convocation. That's at the end of September. And then our transition mentors will plan different meetup events. They'll have 3 throughout the fall semester where they can kind of reconnect with their transition mentor from orientation. They can see some students maybe that they can make plans to come, meet up with their students that maybe they went to orientation with there. So the students really host that just to, again, a check-in time to make sure they're making connections. The last thing that I would mention about transition programs, we don't have anything, or there isn't anything on our campus anyway, like a homeroom or maybe a seminar hour that maybe your students are used to from high school. So what we do is offer every Thursday evening from 5 to 7 in the Shocker Learning Center. We kind of host a freshman study hall. Whether studying gets done, some when it's a busy time, midterms, finals, there's lots of studying going on. In the middle of it all, there's a little bit of socializing, a little fun being had. But the point of that is to give students once a week where they know they can go somewhere and there will be friendly people to help answer their questions. Certainly if they need a tutor, we can hook them up with that. Or if they want to have, if they want to study, we can hook them up with that too. So those are the types of things that we've got planned. Our transition mentors do a really great job of keeping in contact with the students who choose to have a mentor for the semester. They'll get weekly emails from them throughout the fall. Just things to be on the lookout for. So deadlines that might be coming up, or reminders, certainly class RSVPs and, other programs happening on campus that they should be, considering or thinking about. The weeks 3 and 4, students start getting a lot of academic feedback. They start getting their first assignments back. They start having their first exams. That anxiety about, oh my gosh, can I do this college thing starts kind of amping up a little bit. So we'll send timely information that we told them at orientation, but they don't remember, because that's okay. And that's what happens. So we'll send them information. So if you're having trouble in your classes, remember, here's the tutoring link and sign up for help here. And if you don't know where to go, certainly, contact me and I can meet you at Starbucks and we can kind of talk through the questions you have. And so those transition mentors will stick with them throughout their first semester. So that's just first year programs. The other areas of student success include the Shocker Learning Center, which I mentioned earlier. So that's all the tutoring, supplemental instruction, peer coaching. And then we also have success coaches. Your students will meet their success coach at orientation, and that person is there. It's a full-time person to really help them with time management, motivation, study skills, accountability. So maybe they need just a little bit of help helping them keep on track, and that's all cool. They do that all of the time with lots of students. Eventually that student gets that skill and they learn to do that on their own, and eventually they don't need the coach anymore, and that's the purpose. But they are there for the student, and they do want to engage that way. So I will stop. I see there's lots of comments, and maybe you guys are there may be questions that I've missed, but I'll stop at this point.
Yeah. So there's a couple questions about, let me go back. I was trying to answer them in the chat as they were kind of coming up. And so when move-in starts, and so actually going back is when students should be receiving an email for them to register for move-in dates. And so that should be coming here within the week to your student's email. And so just remember, from this point on, your student really should be checking their MyWSU email, probably I would say at least once a week, if not daily, just to see what information is coming through. Has their schedule changed? Something happened? Because that will be sent directly to your student, not you. The probably number one complaint I get from parents at orientation is, I didn't get anything about orientation and I didn't get instructions. You're not going to, because remember, from this point on, we're raising, independent individuals for them to learn to advocate and navigate on their own. And so it starts with registration when they get enrolled in classes. And so students will get that email to their Wichita State student account. They'll sign up for their move-in date. Move-in does start on August the 12th. That is the earliest students can move in. And so if you are needing to get your student here earlier, or if you're wanting to come at the tail ends right before classes start, please make sure that your student is paying attention to that so that they can get the appropriate move-in date signed up. We will have a session later this summer on your students' basic needs, and we talk about housing and food plans and all of that great stuff. And so that will be an opportunity where we will have outlined, what does your student need to bring? What do they not need to bring? And so all of those great things, what to expect for that move-in day. I call it the valet service of all valet, because we truly roll out the red carpet for move-in and really help our students welcome them to campus and get them moved in really quick and swiftly. And another one, so Renee asked if parents needed to attend new student orientation, and Kim kind of addressed that already. Not really. They don't need to. We encourage it just because sometimes that takes off the anxiety and stress of the student, but we also understand that it's hard for families to take off 2 days. And so if you come, and maybe even if you come just for half of the first day, that's fine. We will have a parent lounge set up on the second floor of the student union. And within the parent lounge, there are charging stations there if you need to, remote in. If you need to grab a coffee, we'll have snacks there, an opportunity to pick up the handbook and some other family giveaways that we'll have for folks. Also be there just to answer questions throughout the day. And so that is an opportunity, if there's specific questions that maybe haven't been answered throughout the day, that our staff will be able to get to. And so Don had asked a question, curious about tutors. Are these peer tutors? Is there always a tutor available at any time during the semester, Kim Sandlin?
Yeah, so great question. I'm glad you're asking and thinking ahead about tutors. Students will be able to request a tutor from whatever course they're in that they need through their portal, through their MyWSU and Student Tools. There's a link to request a tutor, and then they click on the blue button that says request a tutor or advising. It uses the same system. So then they just kind of fill out that form. If there's a tutor available that we already have on staff, they'll be able to schedule a tutor time right then and there and get, instant, we're good. I know my schedule. I know who I'm meeting and I know where I'm meeting them. Kind of similar to our the way that you sign up to see an advisor. Is there always someone available at all classes at all times? No. So what we do is have tutors available for the subjects that we know are going to be, highly requested. Things like business calculus, things like elementary statistics, things like, and I want to make sure that there's a difference between tutoring and supplemental instruction. So some of our higher enrollment classes, like chemistry, for instance, lots of students take chemistry every semester. So we have supplemental instruction, which is kind of a super focused and enhanced tutoring program that focuses on collaborative learning. And there is a student who actually attends the chemistry in this example, who will attend this class with the students, take notes, really model what student behavior should be. And then that student leads 3 weekly out of class review sessions. And the way we go about that is not necessarily, we will not re-lecture, and tutors will not re-lecture. The expectation is your student goes to class and your student takes notes. Then we go over the information. What is the question? What does that look like? So we're very clear on that. But that supplemental instruction then is that review session. And those are typically offered for, like I said, higher enrollment classes, chemistry. We have a lot of support for math. In fact, the math lab is relocating out of our Shocker Learning Center. So we're co-locating with them. So all of our math support will be out of the Shocker Learning Center now. And then what am I thinking? Biology is the other big one. So we have a lot, again, high enrollment, and these are historically difficult courses for students. We have a lot of students who struggle in the sciences and in those areas, and that's why we provide supplemental instruction to go along with that course. There's absolutely no excuse for your student to not know if there is supplemental instruction in their course. That SI leader will introduce themselves the first day or second day of class. They will make continual announcements. They will have their own Blackboard in group in their Blackboard. So, and your student will be in that Blackboard. So if your student doesn't know and hasn't heard of SI, then they probably need to request a tutor. But before they request a tutor, and even if they don't know and they request a tutor, we will redirect them back over to supplemental instruction, because there's a lot of academic support available on campus, but sometimes students just don't know if they qualify for a program such as, TRIO program or pass through diversity and inclusion. You may not know if you qualify for those programs, but if you start with us, we can get you to the program that you may be needing and that may best suit you. So if you come to the Shocker Learning Center, then we're able to make those connections and provide that service for you. They're all free. You don't have to pay for any tutoring or supplemental instruction or success coaching or any of our services. The only thing that we ever charge for is the orientation fee on the front end. And everything else from our office is completely free. So your student might want to try our tutoring before they look online for professional tutors, because you'll pay a lot for a professional tutor. I guarantee it. You probably may be already paying for a professional tutor for your student, and that's great. But check out what we have to offer for free to your student. And see if we can't meet their needs. They are peer tutors, so most likely the student has taken the class here and has succeeded and gotten an A or an A minus. We do make exceptions in some of the classes that we just have high need, and maybe they got a B plus, and we'll let that slide and let them help students. Rarely, but sometimes if we have a transfer student who maybe took that class and we're just having trouble finding a tutor, as you all know, the employment, that it is a rough employment environment right now, and so what we do is try to get the best students that we can, the best qualified students that we can, and keep them. But it's a pretty competitive environment, so we are always hiring. And so that's why I say, is there always going to be a tutor always available at all times? No. Will there be someone in the Shocker Learning Center who can give you some tips until we can find you a tutor? Absolutely. And we will go to the faculty members to say, hey, can you identify or help us identify someone to be a tutor for this class? We don't currently have one, and we've got a request for it. And so we'll work with them. Sometimes it takes a little while, but we will do everything that we can to find a tutor. We have a tutor for hip hop dance, of all things, but we needed one. We had a request, so we got one. So if we don't have one, we'll go out and try to find one for the student.
One thing that I would share is that if your student is looking at their class schedule and they are already getting some sort of level of anxiety or discomfort with the courses that they're in, and they know in advance that they're going to need a tutor, I would say, beginning of August, maybe late July, have them go ahead and submit a request for a tutor. And in that way, if we don't have one already available, that's something that we can go ahead and begin working on. Because for me, I would rather have, the resources available and on standby for them to be successful. Kim already talked about, these are resources that are free to your students. We're not charging them for them. And, as a parent myself and an administrator, I confidently feel that I could say the only reason our students will fail at Wichita State is because they failed to ask for help. Once they ask for help, I truly feel that we have resources above and beyond to help meet our students' needs, whether that's academically, mentally, emotionally, socially, And so really it's your student just has to show up. They have to show up and they have to be willing to ask for that help. And so I'm very appreciative for all of our families that have joined us this evening. It was a great session that we had with Mr. Aaron Hamilton, brought him back online, and Ms. Kim Sandlin, just to share their knowledge and all the things that you can expect. Our next one that is coming up is next week, and that is with our Honors College, and that is with Dean Imberg and her crew to talk about what students and families can expect with the honors experience here at Wichita State. And then on the 21st is a really popular one where we talk about student health, not only mental health, but just the health aspect. If your student's planning to live on campus, are they required to have immunization records? What shots do they need? Immunization shots do they need to get updated this summer? How do you upload those records into the student portal? And so that is when, if your student's on campus, living on campus, you'll definitely want to make sure to attend. And also, if you're not able to attend, don't worry. These are all stored online, so you can go to our YouTube channel or any of our social medias and click, watch, share, love, like, all of that stuff. Tonight's winner of our Shocker Family Prize, we have a Shocker banner to hang outside of your house to showcase your Shocker pride, along with our one-stop bag, is Chantel Sanderfield. And so, Chantel, thank you for logging in and signing up for tonight's thing. As we progress, we will do a giveaway for each session. And so follow us, continue to come back, and you too, hopefully, will receive something in the mail from us soon. We look forward to seeing you all at New Student Orientation, if not at the start of move-in, and look forward to. Thanks for coming and have a great night.